So this is Harsh Reality, the most authentic voice in true crime.
How are we all? I hope you're all well. Something's been bugging me, and it might be nothing. It may not be nothing whatsoever. And to be fair, this video is rarely to get something else off my chest with regards to the Kylie Rodney case. And I know I can hear people saying now, about we are continuing to go over this case and we continue to hash stuff out. And to be fair, I'm doing it because I want to try and get more and more people to understand why it's so difficult to let go of this case. Now, I was going back over some of the videos and some of the stuff that the kids and the parents were saying. And they were talking about the fact that, look, and some of you will remember it, and they were talking about how these kids they'd sleep here. If they were going to these parties, the unwritten rule was that they would sleep where they dropped. That was a statement that was made, reference these parties, to sleep where they drop. Now, with that in mind, raises some big, big questions here. Because on one hand, we're saying that Kylie had a curfew and she needed to get home. And she'd made a call to her mum in order to, or a text to her mum, to say, look, I'm not going to make it home on time. I'm going to stay a little bit longer, but I'm going to, I'm letting you know that I'm going to be late. Which raises the question, A, if she did that, then she was compos mentis enough to understand that she was going to be late and that she was respectful enough to contact her mum and explain that she was going to stay until the end of the party, because parties usually have a scheduled end. All of these little details, they're not half very coincidental, isn't it? Everything kind of supports the story. But anyway, I digress. So, we've got this situation where we're trying to, on one hand, believe that she was so intoxicated that she drove into a reservoir, but on the other hand, she was able to understand that she was going to be late, contact her mum to explain that she was going to be late and what time she would be back, and, so on and so forth. And then we've got a situation that she was under curfew, but the unwritten rule is that they sleep where they drop. So what is it? Are they under curfew? Do they sleep where they drop? And if they sleep where they drop, why didn't anybody sleep there? So everybody, in a situation that the rule is generally that you sleep where you drop, on this one particular night, nobody slept there. Everybody left. Everybody up sticks and pissed off home at a specific time that just happened to be the minutes surrounding when Kylie entered the reservoir. And again, this is just one of the many, many questions that when you look into things, you just think, it just doesn't make sense. And look, I know that we can go and pull things apart, but I'm pulling things apart because I'm angry. I'm so angry that there's so many people who are just willing to be like, look, it is what it is. Because that's what you're doing. If you're someone who is just accepting that this was an accident, this young girl just drove herself into the reservoir and, there's nothing else to see here, that mentality, then I feel personally that there's a lot of stuff that you're willing to overlook. And I don't know what that is. Is it because there's some issue in humanity now that we can't, or we daren't, delve too deeply with content creators? Are they thinking, well, if I carry on going on about this, it's going to impact me negatively? Or are some people just willing to look at things more, or are we in the wrong for looking more? I don't understand. Someone please tell me, because these things and the things that we raise, they do exist. The questions that we have do exist, and I've not seen anybody able to come forward and genuinely answer everything. The autopsy still holds questions. How Kylie got in the water still holds questions. The fact that she didn't seem to be that drunk. There's things that support the fact that she's not she weren't that drunk. The autopsy report, and I know people will turn around in the toxicology and say that she'd been there for a period of time. That may explain why there was a lower level, the ethanol in the system. What I'm trying to get at is there's nothing that we know about that proves what was said by those that were the last to see her. None of that information holds up. None of it. None of it holds up. To say she was so drunk that she could hardly walk and talk, but around the same time she was able to, as aforementioned, understand that she was going to be late, to compose a text, to explain that she was going to be late, and understand that. We've all been young and we've all been drunk. And if you're at a stage where you can hardly walk and talk, you're not in a mindset to be able to understand what time it is and being able to text and reschedule things. But that's my rant over. Let me know what you think. Are we looking too deep into things, or are too many people just far too easy to manipulate and make walk away? I'll catch you all in the next one.